Hello everyone, good evening and welcome to Roma Theory. What a massive chance we have tomorrow to reopen our dimensions in the league. It's massive, it's absolutely massive. The results this weekend in the league are all in favour of us. And if we do win tomorrow, we would completely reopen everything. And when I mean everything, I mean we can reopen a potential path to the Europa League, also via the league, which is very important. Of course, we want to be in the Champions League, but of course, we also need to analyse how this season went and how complicated it was since the very beginning to get in a Champions League position, right? So I think we have to be realistic. I think Champions League, no. Europa League, everything is reopening. Everything is reopening, and if you win tomorrow, you'd climb a lot of I mean, you wouldn't climb positions, but you would massively narrow that gap. I mean, you would go 1 point off Bologna and Milan, who yes do have a game in hand, which will be played this Thursday, but that game in hand is between the two. It's Bologna Milan, so one of the two or both of them are going to lose points. Fiorentina again today. I mean, I kept on saying how if there was gonna be a team that we surpass, it was gonna be Fiorentina. Fiorentina are such a weird team. Are such a weird team. Like they go on and beat Inter 3-0, and then they go on a losing streak and lose to Como and Verona. Fiorentina are a very weird one. And I think we have the chance to surpass them, not if you win tomorrow, but the gap is going to come. Also, Lazio drew in Venezia against Venezia, and I'm going to tell you another thing. Juventus won't win tonight. I'm convinced. That's my betting tip of the day. I am convinced that Juventus are not going to win in Cagliari tonight. Again, Juventus and Lazio are still a bit too far. You do need to look at Bologna, Fiorentina, and Milan before. Then maybe, if the results continue along this path and you continue with this momentum, then maybe you can also start glancing at Lazio and Juventus. But they're on they're a bit higher right now. The teams that we could surpass right now are Fiorentina, Bologna, and Milan, who I keep on watching, and Milan are a joke. Milan are a joke. Every time I watch Milan play this season, I'm like, I can't believe we threw that chance in the Coppa Italia against them. Milan are an absolute joke. They're having a worse season than us. Yes, they are, 100%. Like, Milan are an absolute joke. Milan have been a joke since September, and they've absolutely never, they've never improved. I think Conceição has not improved anything. And, they've got a bunch of players who are absolute clowns, in my opinion. So yeah, Milan is one to watch. But look, let's first of all, we got to win tomorrow, which is why I would like to shift the attention from the league table, from all of the results which happened this weekend, to us. A game that we must win, a game that, yes, is an easy game on paper, but we know Roma very well. No game is an easy game when Roma step up on the pitch. Look, I mean, I'll say it. We're gonna win tomorrow, and I will take the responsibility of jinxing the entire thing. There is just no world where we don't get 3 points tomorrow. And I'm not just saying this because we're living a great moment. All of the results should give a boost to these players and to the manager. We're coming from having eliminated Porto, which always gives euphoria to the fans, to the stadium, and other sold-out ground. So I'm not just saying this because of us. I'm saying this because they are ridiculous. Monza, they're relegated. Like, let's face it, there is no world where Monza don't avoid relegation this season. I am not joking. I don't think they've won 3 games this season. They've won 1 against Fiorentina, to, again, prove you how Fiorentina has been weird this season. They keep on changing managers. They've sold all their best players in January. They've sold Juric up front, Daniel Maldini, and William Bondo in the midfield, who were clearly, it was not even a pick. It was clearly their best 3 players, and they decided to sell them all in January. There's just no way Monza survive relegation. There simply is no way. They're 20th. They've got 14 points. They're 3 points. Venezia's 3 points ahead of them. And then you've got Empoli, who started the season very well, and now we're currently losing 3-0 to Atalanta. But again, Empoli is already 7 points ahead of Monza. So even if Empoli get relegated, there's no way Monza. And look, I will also add to you, there's no way Monza don't get 19th. Sorry, there's no possible way that Monza even climb a few positions. It's impossible. They're clearly the weakest team in the league. Statistically, they are. Form-wise, they are. Quality-wise, they are. And they were good at the start, but I'm sorry, but they sold everyone. How do you expect them to save themselves? This should be a walk in the park. It should be. It should be a walk in the park. And I always use the word should instead of will be a walk in the park because of us, because how weird we are, and because of had this game been away, it would have I would have said stinker alert. But because it's at home, and we've basically, with the last time we lost at home was during the initial Ranieri trying to change immediately against Atalanta. Then we've always won, apart from a draw against Napoli. There's no way we don't win this game. Like, there is simply no way we don't win this game. And I will also say that I expect a few changes tomorrow. So, look, the only risk I see tomorrow is I expect a few changes, and I'm going to show you my predicted 11 in a second. The only risk tomorrow is one of those games where you made a mistake, but it's not a mistake, of putting a lot of changes. Monza, of course, are going to park the bus tomorrow. Like, that's going to be their game plan. They're going to come at the Olimpico to stop us. That does not mean winning against us. That means getting a golden point, parking the bus. The only way we risk this game is if we start a very, unbalanced side, which I think we are going to. Not unbalanced side, a very, a B team, a turnover. If they park the bus and manage to park the bus, because of course one thing is parking the bus and one thing is wanting to park the bus, another thing is managing to park the bus. And number three, time goes by, time kicks, time goes, they waste time, they hit us on a counterattack, and they score a goal. But we're not going to lose. I'm convinced we're not going to lose tomorrow. It's impossible that we lose. It's simply impossible that we lose. Which brings me on to a little comment on Monza. You're not going to save yourself if you sell your best players. I've said this 3 times in the last 10 minutes. They had a clear best player. They sold him, Daniel Maldini. They had the striker, which wasn't technically gifted, but he was one of those strikers which, scored those ugly goals. If you stick the ball in the head, Juric was always there to head it in because he was 3 meters tall. They sold him to Parma. Number 3, they had William Bondo in the midfield, who gave intensity and tried to give a shift to that midfield, and they sold him to Milan. If they were bad with these players on the pitch, now what are they? They're like vomit. And defensively, defensively, they've sold Pablo Mari to Fiorentina. They've sold everyone. I right now, at time of speaking, I couldn't name you a Monza player. The only Monza player that I can name you is Keita Balde. Do you remember that Lazio guy? Well, they bought him, and it's going to be written in the stars that he's going to score against us tomorrow. And of course, they've got Nesta, who is an anti-Romanista, one of the biggest anti-Romanistas. He's a Laziale until he dies. He will want to try and stop us, also for his blue and white pride in him. And the other thing, and then I'll focus on us, is one of the reasons why, and this is a criticism to a lot of Italian clubs. What they do is, so many Italian clubs who are bottom of the table, so many low quality Italian clubs sack managers when they think that bringing a new manager in can change the thing, even though their team is shit. And then that manager doesn't go well, and after 2 months, not only do they sack him, but they rebring the guy who they sacked before. And that, in my opinion, will never be a solution. Like, you, Nesta, as much as his team is bad, is not a good manager. You can tell if somebody, despite the team they have, is going to at least admire and aspire to become a good manager, right? You can tell, despite the team being very bad. Nesta is not a good manager. And I don't think it takes a scientist to prove this to you. Why the hell do you sack him, bring somebody in who was the Monza manager last season, and then you sack him to bring Nesta back? Like, the problem, number one, is more than a manager in these clubs. And number two, it's never going to be a solution bringing a shit manager back, right? So, please, oh my god, now that I've touched this argument and said that bringing managers back will never be a solution, there are going to be De Rossi haters which are going to come in this live stream and say, well, didn't you say when De Rossi was sacked to bring him back? Don't compare that, because the team wanted De Rossi back. So I didn't even think about this when I was preparing this speech. There are going to be De Rossi haters who go, well, then why didn't you want De Rossi back when he sacked him? Like, the only thing that I can tell you is to fuck off. That to be rude. So the other thing which I would say is it's just this general criticism to Italian clubs. It's not just Monza. They do it so many times. How many times have we seen a manager being sacked by a relegation team in Italy? They bring somebody new in, they sack him after 2 months and bring the old manager in. Like, that just shows you that these teams don't have a clue. They really don't have a clue. And especially Monza, who sold everyone. I can't get over the fact that they sold everyone in January. Like, I genuinely can't. Right, let's move to us. I expect changes, but of course, now that this is a massive win, and needs to be a massive win, maybe I'm not that sure Ranieri will completely change the team. There are going to be changes, and we're going to see this, but maybe not as I predicted in my predicted 11. The only missing player will be Dovbyk, who, similar to the Porto game on Thursday, has a little muscle issue. It's nothing serious, but he will miss this game and he will be back next Sunday against Como. So Dovbyk is the only player who did not get a call-up. That suggests to me that Shimoda will start, unless you want to start with Dybala as a false nine. I want to see changes. Look, I'll be honest with you. I want to see changes because, like, that Athletic Bilbao game is so up there in my mind that even if it's in 2 weeks, I fear an injury. Like, I fear Dybala getting injured. I know Dybala isn't getting many injuries this season, but you know, there's always the risk that he does get injured. And I don't think you need to rely on Paulo Dybala to beat a decimated Monza, who are bottom of the league table. They also deep down know that they will not save themselves, who brought back a manager. You get the point. I don't think Dybala will start, and I want to see Souleymane Baldassi start tomorrow. Other than that, I think Hummels will get back starting, and I think Sky Sports has also confirmed this. Predicted 11. Look, my predicted 11 is this. Hang on, let me change the slide. Yeah, look, changes, but not like smart changes, right? Svilor in goal, Ndika, Hummels back. I think Mancini rests and Cilic plays. I've criticised him a lot, but I'll be honest with you. In the last 3 games, he's played really well. And I think Cilic, this is very surprising, but I think that Cilic is better as a third defender than a fullback. I know I'm kind of contradicting myself here, because I'm not saying Cilic is an incredible player now. You know me, I still think Cilic has many limits. But the truth is that he has been playing well lately. And I think that position suits him more than putting him where Salamakers is. It suits him more. So I want to see him there. And the reason I've put him in, you could start Nelson in, you can start Mancini if you want to be secure. But I want to see him there because I want the guy I want to implant some confidence in him. he's moving, he's moving up in the confidence scale. I can tell that he's in the last few games he's becoming a bit more confident. He needs to become even more confident for the consistency to be there. And that's why I've put Chilik. Not many times have I been very excited to put Chilik in a predicted 11, but this time round, seeing how good he's been in the last few games, including on Thursday against Porto, I want to see him again to see if this is just magic or if it's maybe consistency kicking in. Four in the middle, Salamakers, Gurna Duat, Paredes, and Salah Eddin. So Angelino and Kone to rest. Yes, and then up front, Dybala resting, El Shaarawy resting, Dovbyk unavailable, and Pellegrini resting. And I want to see Baldanzi and Sule tomorrow. Because if the Parma game last weekend was vital for Sule, this game tomorrow is vital not only for Sule to keep on going, but for Baldanzi. I want a Baldanzi goal. I smell a Baldanzi goal. I see a Baldanzi goal. I can vision it. And I think he needs it. So, an Elder up front. Yes, throw Elder up front. He's another guy who's been playing well lately. So, that in my opinion is my predicted 11. I would not be surprised if Dybala starts, if we want to be a bit more confident and a bit more secure, just because tomorrow's game has proven to be very vital seeing the results. But I do think there are going to be changes. And I don't think we need our starting 11 to beat Monza. Like, we shouldn't. We simply shouldn't need everyone. We shouldn't maybe get them playing 20 minutes at the end. But really, like, it's that time of the season where the more unavoidable risks we take, the better. We don't want, like, imagine Dybala starts tomorrow, he gets injured, and then all of us say, why did he start this game? So you see what I mean? There's always that fear when he plays. So yeah, put Sule in. He's been playing good lately, so he also needs that an extra confident boost. My score prediction tomorrow is a 2-0 win. 1 goal in the first half, 1 goal in the second half. Simple, linear, symmetrical. Get 3 points, bring them back. And looking at the league table, look, I said this at the start, winning tomorrow would reopen everything. Everything. And Atalanta winning is kind of reopening the title race as well. Yeah, I mean, look at that league table. It is very interesting. Roma 37 points, a game in hand. If they win tomorrow, they would go 1 point off Bologna and Milan, who played together on Thursday with the game in hand. 2 points from Fiorentina. And if Juventus lose tonight, which I think is a concrete option, I don't think Juventus will win tonight, then we would go 6 points from Juventus. And remember, we still need to play Juventus at home. And this current Juventus is very, very, very beatable. You know, that could potentially restrict the gap to 3. It would reopen, man. This shows you that this man is pulling miracles this season. Claudio Ranieri has done miracles. If somebody in November would have told me that tomorrow we have a chance of going 2 points from Fiorentina, 1 point from Milan and Bologna, and 6 points from Juventus, I'd have laughed at you. Like, I was genuinely scared that we were going to get relegated in November, so I would have laughed at you. But, you know, this man is special. This team is, in the last few months, working hard, grinding results, and it continues to boost how you basically, through 2 months away, with the Juric appointment. It's so stupid. And it's these moments that you look at the league table that you go, why did they pick him? Why did they appoint him? Why? Just why? Like, why? It's the biggest why of the history of this football club. Where would we be? Where would we be? Where would we be in the league and in the Europa League? Would we have faced Athletic Bilbao in the round of 16? Would we have played 2 extra games against Porto? It's bad. It shows you how bad the decisions have been. Right, I'm going to read a few comments and then I'll end it. The title race is crazy too. Atalanta only 3 points. Yeah, yeah, and Atalanta now are back to 1 game per week. So Atalanta, you know my call. From what I've seen, Inter will win it. The only way Inter don't win it is if they snub it because they want to go far in the Champions League. Napoli are starting to lose hopes. And the thing which about Napoli is that their squad depth is terrible for a team which needs to fight for the league title. It's absolutely terrible. It's terrible. Napoli have got a good starting 11, and then the difference from their starting 11 to the subs is Serie B level. Like, they've got Ngonje coming in, they have Simeone coming in, they have what's his name, um, Billy Gilmer, Billy Gilmer getting in. Uh, Okafor, in my opinion, was a very useless signing. Yeah, like, even Atalanta have got better squad depth, and even though it's very unpredictable, I wouldn't be surprised if Napoli get third and Atalanta get second. Yeah, they're losing fuel, and now they've got the game against Inter, which they're coming towards with a defeat in their heads. So it's not good. It's not good. I hope Inter win it, but yeah. Ciao from Los Angeles. Simo, Roma has to take advantage of this. Absolutely. Hey, Simo, I'd say we can score multiple goals since Monza's defense is in shambles and our attack is strong. Lots of jinxing in this video. The risk is going in thinking this will be easy. Yes, agreed. Agreed. But we should win. That's my point. Next 4 league games are so crucial. Even though these teams are not amazing, they are the ones, all of them, are to whom we lost points in the first part of the season. Yeah, and now I'll say, not focused on tomorrow's game, of course. Next Sunday against Como is not an easy game. I mean, we'll get to that game, we'll speak about the game. Como are living a great moment, and that game falls before the Bilbao game. So, if you win at home against Como right now, who are coming from beating Napoli, beating Fiorentina in Florence, it would again boost you even more. But again, let's focus on tomorrow. I think Itsu is suspended for the game too. Well, there we have it. Would you take Mourinho back? Absolutely, it's my dream. I've said it many times. I love that man to bits, and I would love for him to return. I think Nelson should rest Ndika. That man never rested. Speaking about managers, on Tuesday, I want to do a video, a live stream about Gasperini. I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to spoil what I think and anything. But what Gasperini has said about leaving Atalanta this summer, in my opinion, puts a not a very, an extremely big probability, but a fairly high probability that Ranieri might consider him as new Roma manager. I'm not going to say anything else because that video will come on Tuesday. If he's good or bad, if I would take him or not. But I think if Gasperini leaves, which he will leave, he's hinted at leaving this summer. I think he's a manager that Ranieri will consider and will contact if he does leave. Quarterfinal, Roma versus Fenerbahce, it would be a dream. It would be a dream for the simple fact that I would love to see Mourinho back at the ground, and I think us fans deserve to say thank you to him, and he deserves to live it properly, because of course he was denied it by the owners because he was sacked out like this. So I would love it, but we've got Bilbao first, and Bilbao just beat one of the teams 7-1 today. Colomwani benching Vlahovic tonight? I don't know. Imagine if we had not wasted all that time on Juric. How are you? What are your thoughts on Roma's recent progress? Also, by the way, I've predicted the final league position at the end of the season. Roma will end up 5th, 4th position if we keep continuing like this. 5th, 4th is too much. 5th, 4th means that they need to continue collapsing, and we do have a fairly easy span of 4 games in the next ones, but look at that end of the season. We've got Milan, Napoli, Atalanta. Sorry, not Napoli. We've got Milan, Atalanta, Juventus, Inter, Lazio, basically all together. And imagine if we do go through in the Europa League. We are going to lose points in the league. So 5th and 4th, no. But I would take a 6th spot, 100%. I would love to be in the Europa League back next season. I want to be in the Champions League, but if somebody in November would have said to me, you're playing the Europa League next season, I wouldn't have believed you. So I would sign for a 6th position. Right, I'm going to catch you tomorrow. Hit the like, subscribe. Big game tomorrow. And yeah, 100 likes on the video. And Sule and Baldanzi score tomorrow. Do it. And it takes zero money, zero effort. And it supports the channel and the video a lot. I'll catch you tomorrow. Simo out.